In this episode, I'm going to tell you what to expect when you relocate abroad. So whether you're moving to the UK, you're moving to Netherlands, you're moving to New Zealand, to Australia, to Canada, I'm going to tell you what to expect. Now, whether you're moving for work or moving to study, you are going to experience similar things, maybe a little bit different because one is going to study and the other person is going for work. But there's certain things that you all, or these two category of people, are going to share in common. And I was fortunate enough to move abroad to study and then work. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys 11 things that you should hope to expect when you move overseas. So if you're interested in learning one, two, or even the whole 11 things, why don't you give me 1 second? I'm gonna dash up to the market, and you guys already know I'm gonna be right back with more.
You know the way I do it when I drop lyrical. Anytime I spit lyrical, philosophical. All the niggas mimical, but it's fair still on taking literal. Punchlines collateral. Maximum damage.
Hello, Chronicles. Hello, YouTube. How are you all doing today? It's still your value-based king Fuse from FuseChronicles.com. And you guys already know that we are your one-stop place for everything and anything that has to do with travel, tourism, and lifestyle-related content. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, what are you doing? Are you sure you're interested in going overseas to study or work? If you are and you haven't subscribed to this channel, then you're playing. You're definitely playing because we come out with openings and listings for different companies in the UK, in New Zealand, in the Netherlands, and even Canada. Companies looking to offer sponsorship positions to people internationally. So if you want to get these openings when they drop, or you want to know about tips and tricks on how to live well overseas, then why don't you go on down, smash the subscribe button, click the bell icon which is right next to the subscribe button, so when we drop valuable content such as this, you catch this content while it drops. And why don't you go on ahead and give this video a like, click the thumbs up button and give us that like because it helps us more than you can ever imagine with the YouTube algorithm. It tells Mr. YouTube that you found this video valuable and they're going to find more people all around the world to show these videos to. And while you're at it, why don't you share it with your friends and family members who are interested in going overseas or those who have just traveled so that they stay guided on their decision-making process. Now, if you plan to go overseas, or if you have gone overseas, in this video I'm going to be making a lot of references to the UK because I traveled to the UK for studies, and while I was studying in the UK, I was working full-time, okay? Now, your visa to the UK gives you allowance to work up to 20 hours per week, but I was working in excess of 40 hours every week. It was full-time employment, okay? And I did this without any obstruction, without any limitation. Nobody knocked on my door from the home office telling me I was violating the terms of my visa. In this video, in this episode, I'm going to share with you guys how I was able to do this. So when I talk about each point, there's going to be a lot of gist and a lot of stories around that point regarding how this affected me, how I observed this unfold in the UK. So this video is going to be very, very long. So I want you guys to get your pen, get your pad, get your popcorn because you're in for one of the videos or a kind of video that I've never ever made before. I've not made this kind of video before. I've never brought my own personal business into this video. So some of the stories I'm going to tell might be X-rated. But most people that watch my content anyway are adults and are mature. So you guys can handle it, I'm sure. I'm going to try to censor some parts, but I'm just going to drop it rough, rugged, and raw for you guys. So point number 1. When you touch down the UK, when you touch down Canada, when you touch down New Zealand, Netherlands, or whatever country you might be going to outside Africa, outside the Philippines, outside India, you're going to be hit, bam, with the biggest, the largest amount of white people you've ever seen in your life. And I know some of you might be saying, oh, Fuse, don't worry about it, I can handle it. It's not just white people. No, sir. When I was going to the UK, I thought that I could handle it. I thought that they're human beings just like me, no problem. It was, the culture shock was massive. It was, God, so many white people everywhere. Because when I got to the uni, I got off the plane. Now that's even a different story. A lot of things happened between Nigeria to Frankfurt, and from Frankfurt to the UK, to London. I almost missed my plane. Even when they were checking my carry-on bag in, I think it was Frankfurt. When they were checking it in Frankfurt, they had to dismember my laptop because I used this wrapping. I wrapped my, you know how it is when people have characters that they like. Some people like Spider-Man, like Superman, so they use this sticker and get this wrapping paper of their favorite characters, and I wrapped my laptop with some of this fanciful papers, and it was ripping, was falling apart. So they thought maybe I used the laptop to carry drugs. So they had to dismember the laptop, and the dogs, I think they called them the check dogs, the security dogs, did not even help matters. They kept backing at the laptop, so they had to dismember the laptop. It took me over an hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours to even get off customs at Frankfurt, okay? And by the time they dismembered the laptop, because I knew they had dismembered the laptop, because I looked at the edges, I could see that they had pried some of the edges open by force. They dismembered it, they didn't see any drugs or anything. If you are from Nigeria or you're from Africa, if you're from Africa, they're going to think you're from Nigeria as long as you're black. If they ask you where you're from and you say you're African, they'll think you're Nigerian until they see your passport or something else, and they'll know, oh, you're not Nigerian. But if they know you're Nigerian, there's always going to be this extra search, extra question, extra something. For some strange reason, they think everybody from Nigeria is a fraudster or 419. It's bad, but it's the harsh reality. So when I got on the plane, because I entered a connecting flight from Nigeria to Frankfurt. It was Lufthansa first, then they dropped me over, landed at Frankfurt, then we entered a different plane that took me the rest of the way to London. I think I took off by 10 a.m. the previous day, and by the time I was in London, it was between 3 and 4 in the afternoon. So got to London. The first thing you're going to notice is, I'm not even gonna lie, is God, abroad is beautiful. That's the first thing. That was the first thing I thought about when I got to London. I'm like, wow, London is beautiful. Structured bridges, structured traffic lights, everything structured, historic buildings. I'm like, wow, this is beautiful, man. So I was confused. So maybe I need to even go back a bit. Let's leave the talk about white people. I was a little bit confused because I did not know where to go. I know someone was supposed to meet me in London and help me to tell me the bus to go into, to drop me in the next bus stop and take the next bus, so I was confused. So I had to wait a long time for my chaperone to appear, some guy who I'd already reached out to through a church. So listen guys, if you are a church-going person, or you are a mosque-going person, or you are a Hindu religion person, try to reach out to people in these places of worship in the country you're going to, so that you're going to get your first tour guide when you arrive. They will tell you, why am I stammering? They will tell you the buses and the train to enter. And if you need to buy a day pass, or a week pass, or a month pass, meaning you don't have to spend money on transportation for the next 1 week, for the next 24 hours, or for the next 30 days, they will tell you where to get it from. So when my chaperone came through, he took me, put me on the bus. I think from Heathrow, we stopped at Piccadilly. We took another bus from Piccadilly, and then we went to London, Euston. I was going to the county, I think it's called Northampton. I went to the University of Northampton. So he took me from Piccadilly together. He didn't tell me, okay, from here you go enter this bus, from that bus you go enter that bus. I'm talking this pidgin English, okay? So he didn't tell me from this bus you enter the next bus, from the next bus. He was with me every step of the way. From the first bus we got into from Heathrow to Piccadilly, from Piccadilly to London, Houston. Then I got on a train and I went on my way to Northampton. Now, remember I told you guys that let's just freeze the white people. The last point on this list is supposed to be racism, okay? Now, I'm going to try my best to remember the incident on the train when I get to the points about racism, because I was racially violated on my first day in the UK, all right? So I hope I remember. So when I got to Northampton, I stopped at the train station, got on a bus. Each bus is numbered. That's another point you guys need to know. Now, this whole talk about transportation, day pass, week pass is not even among the 11. These points are not even among the 11. I just need to tell you guys, I'm trying to remember everything that happened from the day I arrived, everything that happened, and I'm just working my way forward, okay? Each bus is numbered. So you need to realize this. Whether you're going to Canada, you're going to Switzerland, it's the same system in every Taiwan country. Each bus is numbered. And each number passes a particular route every day, at least 3 to 7 times, sometimes 10 times a day. So you need to take note of your number. So if you're leaving your uni to go to do shopping in town, you need to enter the same bus. If you're leaving your home where you got your house and you're going to work, you need to enter the same bus. You need to take note of that bus number. The bus number from the uni to town and from town to uni was bus number 7. I was fortunate enough to just see the writings, the electronic writings on the pedestrian lane, and I was able to read all that kind of stuff, and I knew, okay, I'm waiting for bus number 7. Okay? Do not be shy to stop people and ask questions. You just need to be polite, okay? Don't stop someone and say, hey, excuse me, I want to go. No, don't think you're mad. Just be polite. Excuse me, I want to go to XYZ place from here. How can I do it? Do you know the bus number? Just ask questions. They're very polite people. In fact, if you're staring at someone for a long time, the person is going to look at you and smile. It's not like Nigeria or Ghana or any of these other countries where they'll tell you, why do you look at me now? What is all this? No, it's nothing like that. You get it? So I got on the bus and I went to the university. The bus arrived at the bus station. Our university had a bus station, or a bus stop, a bus stop. I got off the bus and I asked questions. I am an international student. I'm just arriving uni for the first time. Where should I go? They directed me to the international student building, the front desk person now directed me to the library, telling me that the student union president is receiving people or freshers who are just arriving for the first time in the library. When I got to the library, it was an ocean. Now let's go back to white people. It was an ocean of white people. So many white people in one place at a particular time. It made me feel uncomfortable. And for some strange reason, I don't know why, but it made me feel very, very uncomfortable seeing white people, so many white people in one place at a particular time. I just believe that if the roles were reversed and I was the white person and a white person just happens on that much amount of black people, they would probably feel uncomfortable as well. But what helped me was the fact that the student union president, I think his name was Sam, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, his name was Sam. He was very, very friendly. I asked a lot of questions and he answered all the questions, showed me where the spa was, told me what to do next, the forms to fill, asked me the fees I had paid, and wanted to know whether I needed to pay any extra fee. He was very, very friendly. And I noticed that because, now listen guys, let me go back a bit. If you're traveling to any country, you need to please check the weather condition in that country before you travel or before your date of departure. I was wearing a polo t-shirt, a blue polo t-shirt, and I was wearing a buffer jacket, a sleeveless buffer jacket. The polo t-shirt was sleeveless. No, the polo t-shirt was a short sleeve, but the buffer jacket was a sleeveless buffer jacket. It was freezing. So everybody was looking at me as, is this guy okay? Why it's so cold and this guy is dressed minimally. So this was probably one of the reasons why I felt a little bit awkward and uncomfortable, because there's so many white people and they were all just throwing stares my way like, what's up with this guy? What's going on and stuff. It was just how it was. So when I finished with the student union president, I had to go back to the international building, and then I got a person in the accommodations office that took me to my room and helped me out. It was in my room in my dorm, that's when I started seeing different people, Indians, particularly Indians and Chinese. Okay? So you need to be mindful that whether you're working or you're going to study, you're going to be hit with that ocean of white people, and you're also going to be met with the black people you're going to see are going to be too white for their own good. I'll give you an example. So gist number one, story number one. When I got to my dorm and the woman, first of all, when I was paying for my accommodation, because I paid an accommodation deposit, okay? I paid an accommodation deposit. So when I arrived in university, I had to pay the whole sum. I think it cost me 3,500 or something or so pounds for 1 year. I think that was it. So when I paid, the woman told me that was the first time in her life that she was seeing a whole wad. She got a wad of cash. It was so much money, a lot of bills of pounds. So she told me this is the first time I'm seeing so much money, pounds, in one place. So she advised me to go to the bank on Monday. I arrived at uni on Saturday. She advised me to go to the bank on Monday to bank my remaining cash. That was done. That was it. And I noticed that when she was talking about the Chinese and Indians, there was this racial undertone. She kept saying stuff like, the Chinese are here, the Indians are here, they're so dirty, they're so dirty, they're too dirty. There was this, I don't know, I just sensed it. I don't know this woman. After that day, I never saw her again, but there was this racial undertone that she used to refer. She kind of just stereotyped those particular people. I just sensed it. Although I must say that the kitchen was very, very dirty. So maybe she was correct, but this is how you say things and people get this racial vibe from you. So I got that vibe from the lady. So that's just it. I was done with the lady. I got hungry. I wanted to go get something to eat. So I remember that the student union president told me about the spa. So I went to the spa to see if I could get something to eat. Now remember I told you guys that all I've been seeing up until this point were white people everywhere. White people everywhere. And so when I saw the first black lady, black girl, you would imagine my joy. I was happy. No joke. I was like, oh my God, a black person. I was at the end of the queue and it was almost her turn to pay for whatever she was buying. I jumped the queue, Nigerian boy. I jumped the queue. Oh, I was like, my God, you are Nigerian. Oh, thank God. And you know the funniest part, she wasn't even Nigerian. She wasn't even Nigerian. I'm like, oh, you're Nigerian. Are you Nigerian? Oh, you're black. And she's like, no, I'm not Nigerian. I'm British. And that's how UK people call British. I'm British. I'm like, but where are you from? She's like, oh, I'm originally Ghanaian. I was like, oh, thank God. Thank God. I've been in this school for literally 2 hours now and I'm not seeing any black person. I thought I was the only black person, but she rubbed me up the wrong way. This is what I meant by black people who are too white for their own good. She was all brushy. She was all, oh, you're disturbing me, you're bugging me. I'm not from Nigeria. And even when I told her, listen, you're the first black person I'm meeting in this place for over 2 hours. If someone had told me that, I would laugh and I would say, oh no, I'm black, so don't worry. I could be your friend or something. Just make the person feel at home. But she was, I don't know, when someone woman fine, when a girl is beautiful, there's always this funny way that they carry themselves. They carry themselves like they don't go to the toilet and that kind of stuff. And this was how she carried herself. And because of the way she was so cold, I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I really apologize for disturbing you or bugging your day. You can go back to whatever you were doing. And I left. the lady, and I went to the back of the queue where my original position was. And look at this, till my graduation from that uni, in fact, till I left the UK and traveled out of the country, our relationship was fractious. It was, and I ended up becoming very popular in that university. A lot of people knew me, and I knew a lot of her friends, but our relationship was irreparable. We just could not be friends for some strange reason. Because she always, and it was not from me, it was from her, because she always felt that her first impression towards me was poor and was bad and was irreparable. And I knew all her friends. All her friends always came to my room to do different stuff, but we were never friends. So you need to be mindful of even the black people in whatever country that you go to who are too westernized. Even the way they talk is not even African anymore. They talk like foreigners, and this is not bad, this is okay, but sometimes it might rub you the wrong way, okay? So, number 2. You need to be mindful. You need to be mindful of people. Now, this could be Chinese, this could be Indians, this could be black people, this could be Australians, this could even be the locals from that country or city that you are working in or studying in that are very, very inquisitive. Now, you need to understand that you look very different. You look physically, you're black. Yes, while many of them have black friends, but not many of their black friends are going to sound the way you do. If you're from Cameroon, you're probably going to be talking with a French accent. If you're from Ghana, you're probably going to be talking with strange English accents that call things bucket like bucket, wallet like wallet. So you're gonna sound like this. If you're from Nigeria, you're going to sound something like, I want to eat that chicken. Give me the chicken. You're going to sound like this. Now, I'm not saying all Nigerians sound that way. I'm Nigerian and I don't sound that way. But more than most Nigerians, more than the average Nigerians sound this way. And because you sound this way, a lot of people are going to gravitate towards you at least the first time. But if you have a bad demeanor, bad attitude, you're going to repel or chase these people away. So you need to welcome those inquisitive nature. Story number 2. The first friend I made, now he's my friend up until this moment, till this day, he's still my friend, was a Southeastern but London-born Asian. Okay? Let me take that again. Let me repeat it again. He's somebody from Chinese. No, not even Chinese. He's from Hong Kong. He's somebody from Chinese. No, he's someone from China. He's someone from China. To be specific, he's from Hong Kong. If you know China, China is located in Southeastern Asia. But he was born in London. Now, back in the day when I was still in the UK, I used to smoke. I was a smoker. Really hardcore smoker. So, and this person also was a smoker. And if you know smoking, whether you smoke cigarettes or you smoke weed or you drink liquor, there's nothing that makes people meet each other more than smoking and drinking. Okay? So I was in the garden area just beside my hall, and I was just sitting there. There's this very bougie, comfy kind of metal work chair, a ring chair where people could just sit. So someone could sit here, someone would sit at the back. It was very, very comfy, and it was an open space. People go there to smoke. So I sat there and I just took out my Benson. I was about to just spark the lighter to smoke. And everything I did, I didn't know it. This person told me. I didn't know this was how I carried my carriage was. He explained to me later, it was several weeks later, he told me, when I first met you were very shaky, you were nervous, you were very fidgety. And obviously I was nervous. So many white people, why wouldn't I be nervous? So I was about to spark my lighter and light the cigarette and stuff. And he saw the way I was shaking, and he was like, "You're new around here, mate. You're new here." So that's an English question for, are you new here? Are you new in this environment? And I'm like, yeah, I'm new. I just got it. I'm like, oh, I can tell. And we just started talking. This guy is the most friendly person I ever met in the UK. In fact, he did not just tell me how the university worked. He took me to his room and he introduced me to all his friends, okay? Now, I'm not ignorant of the fact that not many of you guys who are watching this video are going to be open-minded to meet someone for the first time and let the person lead you to his room. Many women will say he could take advantage of me, and many men could say, oh, this could be a sexual predator. But I was working out before I got to the UK. I've always been hench, I've always been big, so I knew that if this person wants to do, I sized him up and this person cannot take me. So I let him lead me through, so he introduced me to all his friends. His friends became my ground floor friends, my first level friends in that community. This helped me a lot. Now, let me throw more light on this friend business. Right now, there's a housing crisis in the UK. I talked about this in my last video. If you didn't watch that video, I'm going to leave a link somewhere up there. You can click it and go to that video. It talks about how you can move from the first stage in your work application process for your sponsorship job application to the next phase, and tells you how you can cope with the housing crisis in the UK. Now, let me repeat. There's a housing crisis in the UK. If you open yourself up to meeting new people while you are even on the plane, what am I talking about? Even in the airport, while you are about to jet off on your plane to wherever destination you're going to be working in or studying in, whether it's Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Netherlands, UK, wherever. If you open yourself up to meeting new people, you're going to be able to find people whose fathers or mothers or family own mansions in the country that you are going in, whether you're alone or with your family, and they might be able to accommodate you for the first month, 2 or 3 months before you find your foot in that country. Okay? Don't just tell yourself, oh, I'm a handsome man, I'm a fine girl, I'm beautiful, I'm not going to let anybody talk to me, I'm just not going to be approachable. Try your best to even start the first conversation or let people who are talking to you feel welcomed. And then in the course of your conversation, you can just chip in, this is the first time I'm going to this country, I don't even know where I'm going to stay, I heard there's a housing crisis in this place, is this true? If this person can help you, they will try to help you. Okay? Now, when I met Josh, who was my first friend, I told myself I was not going to call any name, but I had to call him. I'm not saying anything derogatory. Josh is by far the best person. Till today, he's still one of my best mates, one of my best people in this world. He helped me out a great deal, took me around, took me to his friends, introduced me to his friends. The first girls I met in that community, he introduced me to those people. Okay, and this can be you as well if you open yourself up to people who are being inquisitive. Oh, you sound funny, where are you from? Forget the part about sounding funny. Just open up yourself to a conversation. You could just laugh it all away. I'm from Nigeria. And just continue. Okay? Now, number 3. Everybody wants a piece of your money. Everybody wants to separate you from your money, from your friends. If you're like me, because when I was in the UK, I love to party a lot. I love to go clubbing all the time, Monday to Sunday. You meet people that tell you in the club, mate, can you buy me a bottle of Budweiser? I'm going to give you the money when we go back to uni. Mate, can you borrow me a tenner? Mate, can you buy me a 10 bag? There's always somebody that is looking to get something from you. They're trying to borrow money from you or have you buy something. There's always, even Nigerians like you, looking to borrow money. Always be confident enough to say, I don't have money right now. No, I can't give you the money. If you keep borrowing people money, you're going to get to a point where you are going to get broke. And my Nigerian people who love to eat eba, want to eat fufu, want to eat jollof rice, and they want to go to the Nigerian stores or the African stores to shop for the food ingredients for this stuff, please, you need to realize that even though these things might look cheap, when you buy them in bulk, it's very expensive. I remember someone taking me to a Nigerian store to buy goat meat and all this other kind of stuff. I ended up spending £150. Till this day, that stuff gets me very upset. I remember when I was in the bus with one of my friends who's Nigerian, I was lamenting, see that guy, he carried me go that shop, I just spend, waste money in here, I just they spend, the guy don't even stop me. What I'm saying is, see that guy, he took me to a Nigerian store, I kept spending money, I kept spending and spending, and he didn't even stop me. I didn't know that this person knew the owner of the store, and from all the money I was spending, he was gonna get commission. A Nigerian person did this to his fellow Nigerian. And I didn't know that there were some girls who were Nigerian, who were in the seat in front of the seat we were in, and they were hearing this stuff, and they were laughing, they kept laughing. It was a couple of months later, that's when one of the girls told me that she always, whenever she saw me in uni, she always saw a comedian. I was so funny because what I was saying that day was so hilarious, and she kept laughing. But it was very upsetting to me. So there are people that are always going to be looking to separate you from your money. If you want to shop, personally, I know how to cook. I love to cook, but I did not cook all the time. I always went to a Turkish kebab shop or a Turkish kebab restaurant to have my meals. Turkish kebab restaurants are the most affordable fast food restaurants in the UK. They're more affordable than your pepper chicken, they're more affordable than your KFCs, they're more affordable than your McDonald's, and they're definitely more affordable than your Italian and Chinese restaurants, or even places like Nando's. They're more affordable than all these restaurants. If you go to a Turkish kebab place, you could get 2-piece chicken with an ocean of chips for only £2. If you go to KFC, that same meal might cost you as much as £5 or £6. Okay? And if you want to go shopping, instead of going shopping for your food in places like Waitrose, which is a quality superstore, you could go to restaurant or superstores like Asda. Asda, you could shop one and get one free. It's very affordable, okay? Or you could go to Sainsbury's and Tesco's, depending on the ones that you have in your locality. These places are also affordable. But if you want to go specific by going to African superstores or stuff like this, it's some things they sell are expensive, some things are not expensive. If you're a smoker, smoking habits is very expensive in the UK. Alcohol is very expensive in the UK. Even if you go to places like Bargain Booze to get your alcohol, it's very expensive. If you want to buy a TV, you have to pay for licensing before you get the TV. Expensive. People trying to separate you from your money. So you need to be mindful. Okay? If you're a man, please learn how to barb your hair. Okay? Learn how to groom your beard so you can at least carve yourself, trim yourself, or have your friends who know how to do this stuff do it for you. I used to have this friend who would carve my beards. Then I didn't have beard, I only had a mustache and I had the goatee. So just carve it for me and just trim my hair, and I'll do the same for my friend. Okay, that way we didn't spend too much money. Okay, so number 4. You cannot open a bank account without a letter from your sponsor. Okay? Now remember I told you about the lady who took me to my dorm, who saw the money and told me that's too much money in one place. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot open a bank account without a letter from your sponsor. Now, who is your sponsor? Many people don't even know who the sponsors are, okay? I bet you think you know who a sponsor is, but you don't know. Maybe those who are going abroad to work know who the sponsors are, but they don't even know the power of a sponsor. Your sponsor is not your parent that paid your school fees for you or your tuition fees for you to go overseas to study. Your sponsor is not the person who is calling you every time to check up on you. If you are going to study overseas, your sponsor is your university. If you're going to work overseas, your sponsor is the workplace, the employer who is moving you from your home country to the country where you're coming to work. Now, if you want to open a bank account, you are going to need to get a letter from your sponsor. Okay? Without these documents, you are not going to be able to open a bank account. So people going to study, whether it's high school, college, or university, go to your institution and get a sponsorship letter. If you're working, go to your employer and get a sponsorship letter. A sponsor is very powerful. I'm going to tell you something that happened to me in the UK. Now, this is story number 3. Normally in the UK, if you want to go clubbing with your friends, and you should go clubbing with your friends if you're into that kind of thing. In the UK, if you go clubbing by yourself, people always tend to see you as someone who is depressive, who is having emotional problems. Don't ask me why. This is how most girls, obviously I'm a guy, so I'll tell you how most girls see guys. They'll always, when you come to the club and they see someone who is alone by himself, they always ask you, where are your friends? And you say, oh, I'm here alone. They always say, are you okay? Is everything fine? They always see you as someone who has emotional problems. So when I was about to go to the club with my friends, then I was working for the insurance company. I'm going to talk about how I got to the insurance company somewhere down the line. Oh, but if you want to still know about it, you can go to the video I did last. I talked about that in that video. A link is going to pop up. You can go and find out how I did that in that video. So I went to my friend's house. We were 3 guys. We met at one of our friend's house. We shared obviously similar friends. So I went to one of his house off campus, and we had pre-drinks. We drank a lot of alcohol. It was a lot of liquor, and it was whiskey, bottles and bottles of whiskey. Suffice to say, I couldn't make it to the club. Before I could even get to the club, I was wasted already. I couldn't, and the bouncers outside the club, they always size and gauge people coming in. If you're drunk, they don't let you in because you could go in and start to pick a fight and damage the property and stuff. So when I was about to go in, the bouncer looked at me and told me, no, I'm not in the right frame of mind to get in. I passed out outside the club. Okay, guys, this is not good. Okay, this is not good. Don't do this. Okay, because I came out okay. Some people don't come out okay from this kind of stuff. So I passed out outside the club, and the police came. Now I'm telling you this because a friend of mine stumbled on the scene and found out that it was me, and it was him that narrated the tale to me how the thing went down. So the police came. I'm like, who is this man? Who knows this man? And my friend was there, and obviously Nigerian who wants to be at the heart of everything. So he came and like, oh, I know him. He's my friend. So they said, oh, where's his ID? So they checked my pocket, saw my wallet, and they got my school ID. And they found out that I went to this uni, and he vouched for me. That's how they knew that I was a student. Normally they would take me to the station, but because they saw my sponsor, the university, instead they took me to the hospital. You guys see? You see how that works? So when I got to the hospital, they did not charge me because I paid for healthcare to my sponsor. So when they finished detoxifying my system, they released me and I went home. Actually, they didn't release me. I kind of ran away because I was like, I was kind of scared because I woke up and the whole place was white. I'm like, where am I? I was scared, and when I saw that I could check and chart my bearings and my location, I just called a cab and I just went out and I just went home. All right. So this is why your sponsor is important and why you need to know who your sponsor really is. Don't get into trouble and start calling your parents or calling your husband or calling your wife. Call your sponsor. Okay, and you need a letter from your sponsor to open a bank account. All right, so number 5, there's always going to be a reason for you to spend money. Now remember, these are things that you need to expect when you go abroad, whether it be UK, Australia, Canada, the US, New Zealand, Netherlands. You need to bear this in mind. There's always going to be a reason for you to spend money. but always think about the path of least resistance. Now, what do I mean by this statement? If you are traveling as a family where one person in that family, maybe the husband or the wife, who was the primary applicant, got a job in or with a company in that country, or the primary applicant got admission to study in a university in that country. And maybe this is a family that has a child or children, and the child or children are still minors, meaning they're below the age of 5. Normally, you're going to have to hire or seek the services of a child minder, a nanny, someone who's going to look after this child while the husband goes to work and the wife goes to school, or the husband and wife both go to work. But child minders, particularly in the UK, are very expensive. Very, very expensive. And if you do this over time, you find out month on month, you are paying an arm and a leg to maintain the services of this person. What can you do in this situation? Simple. The husband can decide to be working, or the person who is earning the most can decide to work, and the person who is earning the least can decide to be at home to look after the children. You guys can chat and talk with each other and decide the best way going forward. Okay? Don't think, oh, I came to the UK, I sold my property in Nigeria, I sold my land, I sold all my cars, I have so much money, I'm going to hire this person. Don't do that. There's always going to be a need for you to pay for things that are urgent, but this is not quite urgent. Okay? There's going to be a need for you to pay for your healthcare surcharge for each member of your family that are dependent on you. This is £625 per person. That's a lot. Don't add a child minder to this equation. Plus, if your wife or husband is in uni, you can get accommodation in the uni. Types of accommodation that is ensued: an extended room where you could pay and stay with your family in uni. In fact, when I was in the University of Northampton, I knew people who were not married, they were not in a relationship, but somehow they had an understanding where this person said, I will camp you in my room, you're working, you go to work, I go to uni, you only sleep here, and that's it. Now, remember I told you about being people who are inquisitive, people who you should open yourself to and just have conversations with them. When you talk with people, they're always going to be able to profile solutions to your challenges, particularly if they are locals. But try to save off spending unnecessarily. Okay, this is very, very important. An extra way that you could save up spending on food, particularly people who are Africans, is by buying foodstuff or coming into the country with foodstuff from your home country. Don't think, oh, I'm going to the UK, I'm going to the UK. Chicken and chips, the tire person. No. What I just said is people get tired of just feeding or living off chicken and chips all the time. So you can come with your egusi, you could come with your bono, you could come with your dried fish, your crayfish, you could come with all these things, package them well so that they don't mess up your luggage. You could come with this so that when you come, at least for the first month or first 2 to 3 months, you leave off the food you came into the country with. That way you're going to save money, and when you start spending, then your legs must be balanced on the ground before you start to spend money. And if you remember all the points I've made about the places to go eat, going to the Turkish kebab as opposed to the English KFC or McDonald's or even Nando's or other forms of restaurants, if you combine this, even shopping in the right superstores, you're going to save money. Number 6. I touched a bit about number 6 and number 5. You're going to be required to pay your health care surcharge every year. It's an annual payment. And you're going to, there's no one payment. This is particularly for people who are relocating to the UK. There's no one payment for the whole family. You're going to have to pay for the wife, for the children individually. So if you have 4 children like me, you're going to have to pay each one. For each and every one of them, you're going to have to pay for them. Okay, and if it's the wife who's the primary applicant, she's going to have to pay for the husband. Now the fee is £625 per person, and you have to pay this every year. It's an NHS surcharge. It means if you or your family member or any member of your family who's a dependent falls ill, they can literally just go to the hospital and they're going to be treated, okay? They have cover, they're going to be treated. So this is something that you should expect when you get to at least the UK. For the US, they have their own system. For Canada, it's a little bit more liberal. Healthcare is a little bit more free in Canada. But for the UK, this is it. Number 7. Whether you are a worker, whether you're moving to the UK to work, I know it's different for America, okay? And it's a little bit different for Canada. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. If you're moving to the UK for work and you end up trying to study, if you've not gotten your indefinite leave to remain, you are going to have to incur all the fees and responsibility for paying for your study, your tuition, and all the things, all the fees related to studying in the UK. If you are an international student moving to the UK, you're going to be responsible. The burden of payment for this is going to be on you. You are not eligible for student finance. So no student loan, no bursary and all that kind of money from the government coming your way. You have to be responsible for your fees. For America, international students, yes, for at least some institutions, you are eligible for student finance and student loans, particularly if you can show them that you're going to remain in the country after your studies. Maybe you're working on campus, maybe you work in the student union, or you're in Canada and you're working off campus, because in Canada you have the unlimited access to work off campus. In the US, no. In Canada, yes. At least these facilities are in place for these people. To a limited extent in Canada, but in US, yes. But in the UK, no. So if someone is telling you, oh, go to the UK, go and study, you're going to be eligible for student finance, the only time you're going to be eligible for student finance in the UK is if you do your first degree and you are the best in your class, in the school. Automatically they're going to sponsor you if you want to go do your master's and to go do your doctorate after that, if you maintain the levels. But other than that, there is no such thing as student loan or finance for international students. So you need to bear this in mind. Number 8. To buy electronic devices such as your phone. Say maybe you're moving to the UK and the phone you're using is so bad and you want to replace it. If you just arrive in the country for the first time, my brother, my sister, it's impossible. What do I say? What did I say? It's impossible. Okay? You can't even do it. Why? Because your credit rating and your credit score has not even taken off. You don't have a credit rating, you don't have a credit score. So if you go to a carport or you go to a proper store that sells electronic devices and gadgets like phones and you want to buy a phone, impossible. It happened to me. So let me just tell you guys, gist story number 4. So Nigerian boy, fresh off the boat, plane, okay? Fresh off the boat, fresh off the plane. I was using this Nokia, what was it? I can't remember. I think it was a 33, not a 3310, but one of these Nokia phones at the time. And the phone was so bad. If you want one of those phones that are so bad, if you want to send a text, you press A. A is going to appear like 7 times, so you have to start deleting A. Then you press B. B is going to appear like 5 times. You delete the other 4, leaves 1. It was very bad. So I wanted to buy a new phone. So and at the time, the Nokia 9800 slide was what was in vogue. So I went to the first store, the carport, just off uni. If you come out of my uni and you just go down the hill on Burton Green Road, there's a superstore downhill called Waitrose. Beside it was Asda. So in front of Waitrose, in the parking lot was a carport. All they dealt in were just phones. Beautiful store. So I got into the place. Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. Abroad, fine, die. Overseas, it depends on the country you're going through. And overseas, obviously, if I leave Nigeria and go to Cape Verde or go to Ghana, I'm overseas, yeah, I'm abroad. But I'm talking about Western countries, Taiwan countries. They're beautiful, properly planned, proper layout, beautiful. So I went to the carport. So whenever anybody tells you that it's not easy overseas, it's not easy here, it's not easy there, it just means the person has the wrong orientation. If you do the right things and execute the things I'm telling you guys to do, you're going to enjoy it. It's beautiful. I enjoyed my time in the UK. It was heaven for me, okay? Now, I went to the carport. I chose the phone, and he said, oh, you want this one? I was like, yeah. He brought it down and said, oh, how much is it? I said, oh, it's £400. Oh, can I pay cash? He looked at me. You want to pay cash? You have the whole phone, 400 in your wallet? I'm like, yeah, I want to pay cash. I'm like, what? Really? At the time, it was alien to me. Nigerian boy. Everything in Nigeria is cash and carry. You want a house, pay cash. You want a car, the whole payment, cash. Everything cash. And whatever you want, you pay full and you let it go. It's not the same in the UK. In the UK, even for your phone, you have to get on a payment plan. That's where your credit score and rating starts to build. So the guy collected my ID, put it in the system, checked, all my information came out, and I can't sell it to you. I can't sell this device to you. You don't even have the credit score, so you cannot buy this phone. I'm like, what? I have the money. I have the money. Like, no, it's not about the money, it's about the system. This is what he said. I was determined to get a phone. I now told myself, okay, where should I go to? Where should I go to? Where should I go? Where should I go? I'm going to go to T-Mobile. T-Mobile is a brand that makes the SIM card and they make the devices as well. So they're going to sell me a phone. I went to T-Mobile, the same thing happened. I went to Vodafone, the same thing happened. I went to O3, the same thing happened. No, I went to, O2, the same thing happened. I went to 3, the same thing happened. I'm like, what is this madness? I now had to settle for a second-hand phone store where I bought the same phone, but at a lower price, but it was already a fairly used phone. Someone had used it and sold it. That was how I was able to get a phone. So you need to be mindful that if you just off the plane, some of these things might be hard for you to get. You might need to work, if you're going to these countries to work, first, before you use your credit rating that has taken off to buy some of these things, or if you are in uni, you might need to stay for a while before you start to buy these items. It's very, very important. Same thing goes for your car. If you want to buy a car, you need to have a credit rating to be able to start this instrumental payment that they use to buy these things in the UK, unless you want to buy cars from people. Maybe you're in uni and you want to buy a car. There are many people who finish their programs in uni and they want to go back to their country, but they have cars, they'll sell it to you on a cheap. Okay, so if you're working, you might want to put eyes out for the universities close to your workplace and just talk to someone in the university. If you know anybody that owns a car and wants to sell it, this is the quickest way for you to get a car if you are in Tier 1 countries. Okay, so number 9, racism. Oh God, racism is real. Okay, racism is real. Now let's face it, please. I'm a very realistic person. If you've been watching my videos and if you've ever tried to communicate with me on Instagram, meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can leave it down in the comment section. I've talked about 8 points already. If I was too fast, you can try to click the settings tab down below, click the gear icon, modulate the speed to the speed that is slow enough for you to understand what I'm saying. And if you don't still get it, hit me up on social media. I'm active on 3 social media platforms: Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Slide into my DMs with your inquiries, okay? And I respond to ask people. Anybody that knows me tells you I respond to every inquiry, okay? Now, racism is real. Those that know me know that I am very, very candid in my opinion. I'm a very reasonable person. Very reasonable person. A little bit wild, but very reasonable. Okay? Now, everybody, if you are on this planet, Earth, I'm not talking about Martians, people from Mars. If you're from Earth, you are racist. You have a racial bias. I don't care who you are. You have a racial bias. Everybody has an implicit bias about someone from some place. In Nigeria, they have a term that they call Chinese people. It's in Pidgin. They call Chinese people that name. It's not even like they make a mockery of them, but people from China is called, and some people tend to extend it to people from Asia as a whole, with the exception of Indians. Okay? People have this term that they call, that's being racist. When you say this person, you call this person, na Chinko guy be that, it means that's a Chinese person. You're being racist. When you see a foreigner and you say, na Onyocha, that's a foreigner. Now Oyibo man be that. He's a foreigner, he's a white person. That's being racist. It's the same thing when a white person sees someone with a black skin, someone like me, or someone who is Indian with a brown skin, or Middle Eastern with a brown olive skin, and they use the N-word to describe that person. You would call it racist, wouldn't you? But you describe Chinese people and some other people in colorful terms. So you're being racist as well. So everybody, to a certain extent, is racist. But in England, now listen guys, remember I said in the beginning, I'm always going to use England as my frame of reference because it's a place I've stayed there extensively in. I've visited some other countries, but England is the place that I've extensively stayed, I've lived, studied, worked. So I can tell you how the culture is, how people relate, live, act, respond, and stuff. England, they take racism to a whole new level, a whole new frontier. They take racism to a whole new height. In England, someone is having a conversation with you and you're responding to the person, but you don't even know. You've not even clocked on. You've not clocked on to the fact this person is actually racially abusing you on the go. They take racism to a whole new level. God, it's insane. I'll give you a story. Story number what? 5. I'll talk about 2 stories. Remember I told you I was going to tell you about a story that happened when I just first arrived the UK. So, I was on a train, Nigerian boy, funny dressed, wearing a short sleeve polo blue t-shirt, puffer jacket, with a puffer jacket, a sleeveless puffer jacket. And I was on the train, I was just sitting down, I was looking around. Emil Hempstead, I was looking to the side, looking at the farmland outside the train. I'm like, wow, so much land, wow. I was just looking at everybody, I was like amazed. I'm like, oh man, I'm happy I'm here. Abroad is good, abroad is beautiful, okay? Don't let anybody lie to you. But in that same train, one of the train porters was coming from the first cat on that train, the first caravan on the train. How did I know? The connecting doors to each carriage vans on the train was transparent, sliding. No one of those doors that you stand and there's a sensor that makes it open, you pass through. He was coming. I saw him coming from 7 carriage vans away. He was coming. He just kept walking. Hefty guy, big like me. He just coming, walking down. And I was asking, where is this guy walking to with so much purpose? He was just walking down. And he was just coming. I did not know this guy was coming to me. To me. He came to my van. Came to my caravan. A train has different compartments. I call them carriage vans and stuff. So he came to my own carriage van and he stood over me. said, mate, can I see your ticket pass, please? And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, dude, this guy came from the first one, past 7, just to ask me for my ticket pass. Whoa, that's what I was thinking. That was what I was thinking. And I kept asking myself, but why would he do that? Because there were many people there. And I showed him my ticket pass, even showed him my passport, showed him everything. And he finished, thank you, gave it back to me and walked back. He didn't ask anybody else for the ticket pass. He didn't talk to anybody else. He walked back to the first cat. He walked back all the way to the first carriage van. This was my first racist incident. My very first. My second one, and the one that took the cake, the one that was so bad that it made me speechless, I could not even report it, was when I was working. So when I got to the UK, I worked for a warehouse. If you want to learn more, hear more about the story, you can refer to our last video. I'm going to leave a link up there. You can click it. I talked about this. It was a warehouse job. It was offered to me by a recruitment company known as Randstad, who usually get all the jobs on offer for a company known as TNT. TNT is a package delivery company. You guys all know TNT. TNT exists in literally every country. They're like UPS, they're like FedEx, they're like all these companies, DHL and that. So I got a job in the warehouse to sort parcels and sort mails and that. It was horrible. I quit the job after 1 month. So after I finished working, or after I quit that job, I got a short-term job with a fundraising company. Now this company raised funds for charity. I got a job. It's kind of like a guerrilla marketing job. It's kind of a job where the marketing officer or the marketing logistic officer plots the locations where you're going to have to raise funds, and you go there, you raise funds door to door, you knock on people's doors, and you tell them that you're representing British Heart Foundation or Cancer Heart or Cancer UK, and you tell them the amount of people that suffer from cancer every day, every week, every month, every year, and you solicit funds from them, and they commit to paying money every month, get them to get on a yearly plan so that this companies that are into research that have to do with cancer, whether it's heart cancer or pancreatic cancer, they can get funds to continue their research. So I got a job with this company. So on this day, I knocked on the door of this white man. He came out of his house. Thank God he did not invite me in. By the time I finish this story, you guys are going to know why I'm thanking God. So he came out, he was at the front porch of his house, and I went through the script. It's a script. You memorize the script so you get used to it. So I was just telling the guy, oh, listen, XYZ amount of people die of cancer in the UK every day, blah, blah, blah. If you can just commit to donating XYZ amount of money, you're going to save lives. And my friend said, oh, wow, really? Oh, I didn't know this. Oh, thank you for telling me about this. This is why I told you that racism in the UK, you're being racist, brother. They abuse you. You not even say they don't carry you go cleaners. They don't say you finish. You're being abused, but you don't even know you've been taken to the cleaners and you've been sold. You don't even know. I just kept talking. The guy kept nodding. Oh, wow, really? Is this happening? Oh my God, in this country? I didn't even know this. Oh my God. Oh, thank you for telling me this. He thanked me. People, he thanked me. He told me, the man thanked me, thank you. He thanked me. And I was like, my mind, I was like, thank God this guy's going to commit. Because for each sign up you get a bonus. For each sign up, they pay you a salary, but for each sign up you get even more, you get a bonus. I was happy. So my friend now went on. Give me a minute, please. Let me drink water, okay? I've been talking for a while. So my friend went on. He went on, took a break for a minute, just took a pause. So just thought about, just collected himself. And he said, are you from the UK? And obviously, because I talk funny sometimes, so maybe if this person may phonate too much, you know, as in he's talking, his phonetics is too much, so maybe he's from the UK. I said, no, I'm not from the UK. And he said, well, where are you from? I was about to answer. Now look at this, racism. I've already been racially abused, but I did not even know it. I was about to answer. He said, no, you don't need to answer. However you got here. How did you get here? Did you get here by plane? I was about to answer again. He said, no, you don't need to answer. Did you get here by boat? As soon as you used the word, that's why at the start of the video, when I said, if you got there by boat, I started laughing because I remember that incident. So did you get here by boat? Did you get here by horseback? Did you walk here shackled in chains? This man said all of this. However you got here, I want you to get out of our country. We don't want you here. Get the hell out of our country. This man said this. I was there. I was dumbfounded. I was awestruck. I was like, oh my God, this is the racism I've been talking about. I've been hearing about racism. I did not even know this was how it happens. I was awestruck. I was dumbfounded. I was like, oh my God. This man left me, entered his house, opened the door. The biggest dog I've ever seen in my life. The dog was like a werewolf. Remember we used to watch She-Wolf in Paris, American Werewolf in London, all those kind of movies. Dude, no playing, no capping. The dog was as big as one of the werewolves we see in the movies. The dog pounced on me, both hind legs on the floor, the forelegs in the air, pounced on me. Before I knew it, I was on the floor. Brother, I don't lie. I started screaming, Mommy! 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 Help me! Mommy! I was screaming. No joke. I was screaming. I started screaming, please, take him away. I will go back to my country. Please, please. Grown man. Grown man. Grown man. At the time I was in the UK, I was in my, say, mid to late 20s. Grown man. I had a mustache. I had goatee. Grown man. 6'4" grown man. They scream like baby. I was screaming like a child. That's how the racism reduced me too. So when you're going to the UK, when you're going to Canada, when you're going to America, when you're going to Australia, to Sweden, to the Netherlands, wherever country you're going to, as long as it's tier 1 country, people might tell you, there's no racism in Canada, it's normal. Don't be fooled. Racism has graduated from university. Racism is now institutionalized. So you need to be guided. Okay? Look at me. Look at the way I sound. When I was in the UK, people I worked with thought I was from the UK. If they didn't think I was from the UK, they thought I was American. My English was good, perfect. Nobody could guess that I was from Nigeria, coming to the UK from Nigeria. But I was racially profiled, I was racially abused. Now imagine people who are coming from Ghana. Maybe they're relocating to work overseas, straight from the village in Ghana, straight from the village in Nigeria, whose English is still raw and rugged. You need to be aware. This happens. This is one thing that you need to be ready for if you are going overseas. Whether you're going to study or you're going to work. Now, what number am I in? Guys, please, I'm confused. What number am I in? I don't know. Now, I just spoke about number 9. I'm going to point number 10. Point number 10. You need to be friends with the locals, okay? Now, you should expect that when you get to the UK, you get to Sweden, you get to Switzerland, you get to the Netherlands, you get to Canada, you get to the United States, there are going to be people that gravitate towards you. It could be in your church. You might be too spiritual and people would love it, that you're very spiritual. You could be in your class. You might be very intelligent. You're from Africa. African people are intelligent. So they gravitate towards you. If they are like you, be friends with them, that is good. So if you're black on black, good stuff. Be friends with them, but don't invest too much in that relationship. I mean it. I honestly mean it. Don't invest too much in relationship with people that are like you. Try to invest more in relationship with people that are not like you. Most of the things I got in the UK, I got them from people that were not like me. Maybe some people that look like me, but in the actual sense of the word, they were not like me. The girl that gave me the link to the insurance company that I ended up working for a long time, she was black, she was originally Ghanaian, but she's never been to Ghana. She's always been in the UK, born in the UK, spoke like the British people. So, as long as I'm concerned, she's white. Alright? So you can be friends with those kind of black people. I'm talking about people that are from Nigeria that just get to the UK, first week, second week, they tell you, you're right, man. Nah, not them type of ones. I'm talking about people that were born, raised, or people that have been in the UK for at least 5 years and above. But try to get white people who are going to, I'm talking about the knowledgeable ones, not just the junkies. Junkies, there are a lot of junkies in the UK, and you'll find that there are a lot of junkies in the US and Canada and stuff. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about people in your workplace that are white, that are black but are British, that are black but are Canadians, that are black but are Americans, are from Sweden, or they are sweet people and stuff like this. These people are going to keep you informed on the best deals available. Say maybe, for example, Asda or Tesco's or Sainsbury's or Morrison's or Aldi. These are all retail superstore chains that sell groceries to people in the UK. Maybe one of all these superstores are doing a discount deal. You will hear it from locals as opposed to people from your country. If there's a house for sale and you've been working in this company for a while, you will hear it from locals. Oh, there's a house for sale. If you're interested, I could talk to somebody. If someone wants to sell his or her business and somehow they know that you are business savvy, you will hear it from the locals as opposed to hearing it from somebody who is from your country. And I know it's hard. I know it's very hard. We all want to be friends with people from our country. We all want to be friends with someone from Nigeria who we just met. Ah, that's my brother now. I'm not going to be friends with him. My brother now. Hey, he's my brother. I want to be friends with him. Relate with them. In fact, if your local township, village people have an association, belong to the association, because you could also get information about deals from that association. Belong to that. But don't invest too much in that. When I was moving to the UK, I always had it at the back of my mind that I was going to relate or associate less with black people and more with people from the UK, people from America, people from Australia, and even till today, that relationship I fostered with those people, I still exploit those relationships today. If you guys see all these jobs that I talk about, I put calls to my friends in these countries and I find out, listen, I'm trying to get people to work for this company. Is it possible? I still have these friends in those countries. And this could be you if you build and select your friends. Don't let your friends select you. Select your friends. Invest more in people who are local to that community, because from there or from them, you're going to get to learn about better opportunities that arise in that city or even in a different country. You could get someone that tells you, oh, listen, this company is hiring. And you go, you get that job, and you find out that company has an outlet in Canada. I know a friend who relocated to Canada from the UK using this method. He got someone who was a local. The person helped him. He secured a job for a multinational company and worked with that company for 6 months, and then was transferred to their subsidiary in Canada. And even till this date, that friend of mine is still in Canada. So you need to be guided on this particular issue. Number 11. Finally, number 11. Your husband or your wife can change up on you. They can switch up on you in the blink of an eye. I've seen this happen. Okay? Listen, guys, there's nothing in this episode that I'm just plucking from the air. These are all my personal experiences that I'm sharing with you guys, so you guys should and need to learn from it and beware going forward. Implement them if you're already abroad or if you plan to move. Your husband or your wife can switch up on you depending on their age. If you are an elderly man or a man who is advanced and you go marry a girl who is very young, who has not experienced anything in life, does not know what it means to be with other men, or has never been with other men before, she's young, she's green, doesn't know anything about life, and you tell yourself, I'm going to build a family with this girl. In fact, you even get married to the girl and you relocate to a different country. Brother, that girl experienced life for a Western country. She could experience life in a Western country, love it, and drop you like a bad habit. Particularly if you find it hard to make ends meet. Particularly if you find it hard to get your papers. You could meet someone that's going to offer her papers and she's going to drop you and move with that person. I've seen it happen dozen times. So what do you do? What can you do? If you're a man, handle your business. It means if you're going to study, study well, get a job. If you're going to work, get a job that's going to look after you and look after your family. If you're a woman, maybe your man is the primary applicant and he gets a job and is supporting you, and maybe every month he gives you the monthly stipend to look after the house, look after the children. Don't depend on that. Don't do that forever. If you have children who are below 5, wait till they get to 5, because in England, in Australia, I think it's 6 years old. In Canada, it's 5. In the US, it's 5. In the Netherlands, it's 7, I think. In the Netherlands, it's 7. This is the age in which your kids need to be able to start going to school. If your kids are below this age and they're in this country, someone has to stay with them. So if your woman is staying with them, wait for your kids to get to the official age to start going to school. As soon as your kids start to go to school, please start working. Don't depend on your man to give you 150 pounds to look after the family. Start working. Be independent. Make him no use you shine. Be independent so that he's not going to use you to shine, okay? Look after yourself, because if you can look after yourself, you can be able to look after your immediate environment by extension, okay? If a man sees that you're too much burden on him, he's going to find another woman, he's going to find a side chick, and he's going to be cooling his heels off in her house. And before you know it, these girls in the street, you're not smiling. It's not only in your local country that you have women that are willing to steal your man. Even in foreign countries, it happens all the time. Or men looking to steal your woman. It's the same thing opposite the street or at the other side of the street. You need to be mindful of this. Your partner could switch up on you in the blink of an eye, and before you know anything, from marriage, you're going to turn single. And you're going to move on to greener pastures, and you're going to drop it like a bad habit. So these are 11 things that you need to be mindful if you want to relocate to a foreign country. Now, in this video, in this episode, I used the UK as a case study because I stayed in the UK extensively. I visited other countries, but the UK I'd stayed for a long time. So I can tell you how it goes in the UK. I've worked in the UK, I've lived in the UK, I've flourished in the UK, I've studied in the UK, so I can tell you how it works there. Okay? So you guys need to be mindful. You need to be mindful of these 11 points. Watch this video over and over again. If you have friends and family members who are already in the UK, who just got there, or who are planning to go to the UK, planning to go overseas, share this video with them. I know it's long, but it's as informative as it is long. Okay, so if this video was helpful to you, if you found some value in this video, do not hesitate. Go down, smash the subscribe button. While you're down there, don't fail to click on the bell icon, which keeps you notified when we drop more valuable content such as this one. And while you're down there, why don't you click on the thumb button, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, which is very helpful, very beneficial to us. It helps us more than you can ever imagine with the YouTube algorithm. It tells Mr. YouTube that you found this video valuable and you're going to find more people just like you all around the world to show these videos to. So help your brother out so we can grow together. I thank subscribers that are doing magic for me in this channel. We're growing leaps and bounds every day. I thank you. If you're new here, you're going to find our content very helpful if you want to travel overseas or if you are overseas. And if you're returning, I thank you for your loyalty. I appreciate you and I do not take you for granted. If you have family members and friends who are looking to go overseas or already overseas, share this video with them. Share it with them so that they stay guided on things to look out for when they arrive at your destination. And now next episode, I'm going to drop more openings, more jobs for people who are looking to go to New Zealand for work. Okay? So keep it locked on this channel. Subscribe, turn on the notification bell and like this video. And like I always say, guys, your candle, if you use your candle to light another candle, the candle that is lighting in your candle does not go out. The only thing that happens is that space is illuminated. The light in that space is intensified. So with this video, I'm giving you this flame and I want you to take this flame and light multiple candles so that together we're going to be agent of change and help people who are already overseas or who plan to go overseas find the best way to live and thrive overseas by putting their best foot forward. Okay? And if you want to know more, about how to successfully answer questions put to you in your visa interview, maybe you're going to the US, you're going to Australia, or you're going to Canada, a video is going to pop up to my right which talks about all the visa questions you should expect and the answer that you should be able to give when each question is asked. Okay, so why don't you click on that video and get that information. And until the next one, I remain your value-based king, Fuse. I'll catch you guys on the next cut. Bye bye for now.